Most people carrying a 3x3 tarp think they know the best way to set it up until the weather, the terrain or the wind proves them wrong. Today I'm going to show you 5 amazing tarp shelter setups that you wish you knew earlier, and trust me, there's at least one of these things in this video that you're not using but definitely should be. So let's get straight into it then, because the first setup might be simple, but it's also one people misunderstand the most. Before we dive in, here's why I think a 3x3 tarp, that is 3x3 meters by the way, 10 feet for our American friends, is my favourite piece of lightweight camping gear. It's fast, it's reliable, you can shape it into any shelter almost you want. You can construct it so you've got open views, you can construct it so you're stealthy, you can construct it so you're protected from the weather. Whatever the scenario, a good tarp can outperform most tents, in my opinion, if you know how to pitch it. And that's why today matters. I'm going to show you the 5 most used tarp setups that I use, from beginner friendly to basically storm ready, so you'll never be caught without a shelter solution again. So the first setup I've got is the A-frame. The A-frame is really simple to set up. All you need is a really taut ridgeline, which I've done with my ridgeline setup here, and string the middle across. I do have carabiners already attached to my tarp, as you've seen. That is really just for quick deployment and stuff like that, but you can use twigs as toggles if you wish. Pull it tight, then just peg out the 4 corners. Nice and simple. As you saw, it's very, very quick to set up. I could deploy that in under 2.5 minutes if I had to. So that is the main pro for the A-frame. It's very quick. Another pro for it is very simple indeed. A third pro is it is very good at rain and weather protection, providing it's coming from the sides. One of the cons is also the ends can be open to wind and rain if the wind does change direction. Now obviously you could pin down one of the ends and make it a bit like a bivvy style, but it does restrict your room there. Another con is the fact that it's quite low. You would have to crawl in there like a bivvy bag. You're not really going to be sitting up anytime soon, but once you're in, it is really cozy. And it is a really versatile, simple shelter to set up if you're in a bit of a pinch. So that's the first one, the A-frame. Let's see what we've got next. So here we have the lean-to. Now the lean-to is just as simple to set up as the A-frame. In fact, it's slightly simpler because you've only got 2 pegs instead of 4. All you do is you pull one side out onto the ridge line and then just ping the rest of it all the way back to make this big giant sheet. Now it does sag a little bit in the middle, that's one of the cons, but obviously you can ping that out with an extra ridge line or a bungee if you've got one. The other cons to this are the fact that it is quite open, so if the wind does change from directly behind you, you could potentially get some weather coming in or some wind or rain or whatever it may be. Now the pros to this I think are obvious. It is massive. You could probably get 2 or 3 people under here comfortably. You've got great views out into the forest. You can have a campfire and it reflects the heat in. Yeah, the heat does escape out the slide slightly, but you've still got that little bit of warmth coming in there. And it is just a nice, open, airy, lean-to type tarp. So that's number 2. What have I got for you for number 3? Now, number 3 is probably my favourite shelter of all time. This is the Plow Point. Like I said, probably my favourite of all time. Pros about it are you are sheltered from all directions apart from this way. And if you've got a big enough tree, you're going to get a bit of shelter from the tree anyway. It's really comfortable. It's got loads of space, loads of space. Again, you could easily get 2 or 3 people under here. You can have a campfire out the front and it is absolutely brilliant. Like I said, this is probably my #1 go-to. Has it got any downsides? Well, yeah, of course it has. It is quite low. If the wind changes direction, it is a bit of a problem. But that said, because I always do it with a bungee, you can really lift it up and down as you see fit. You can ping out the back, same as we did with the lean-to, to make a bit of extra space. And the beauty of this is, even if the wind does change direction, it is very, very simple to fix. And I'll show you how. So that's probably the reason why that's my #1 shelter, because it's really easy to reconfigure. It's spacious, it's warm, it's comfortable, it's dry. I absolutely love it. But I've still got 2 more to come. This is called the Adirondack tarp shelter. More complicated than all of the others I've shown you so far, but it has got fantastic wind protection from the back, and it even covers you slightly from the sides and a little bit to the front. You've got loads of space in here. Again, you could easily lay out 1, maybe 2 people in here and have plenty of room for your kit. Those are the pros. The cons, it is more difficult to set up. You need more ground space to do it as well. And again, if the wind does change direction dramatically, you are pretty screwed. But my last setup I'm going to show you, #5, that should solve all of those problems with the wind and the rain, except if it does a full 180. So here you have the Tarp Tent. This is #5 in my must-know tarp setup list. And I think this is probably the best tarp setup all round for inclement and bad weather, because you've got great protection from 3 sides and you've only got a small entrance. So even if the wind did change direction, you would still have very good protection even from the front as well. So the pros, very good protection, great wind protection, plenty of space inside, fantastic setup all round. Cons, a lot more difficult to set up. As you can probably see, it's not the best setup I've done of the Tarp Tent because I am losing light, so I had to do it in a bit of a rush. So it can take longer to set up. If you use a centre pole, I haven't this time, I've used a ridge line, but if you're somewhere where there's not trees and you use a centre pole, it does take up space inside as well. You have to be careful not to knock that over. But all in all, this is probably the best setup if you're going to be in inclement or bad weather. That's the Tarp Tent, so that's #5. So there you have my 5 go-to tarp shelters that everybody should know. Now, whether you're a beginner and you use the A-frame, or you want a bit more space and you use the lean-to, or even the Plow Point and the Adirondack for a bit more shelter, or if it's really stormy and you're using the Tarp Tent, those 5 shelters will get you out of most problems. If you've liked it, hit that like, hit that subscribe. Let me know if there's anything else you want me to experiment with, whether there's another type of shelter you want me to try. Stick that in the comments down below and I'll try my very best. So until the next time, stay safe and I'll see you soon.